I'm gonna win a 17th championship.
So the Elimination Chamber is getting very interesting. We had qualifying matches on Raw. We have John Cena just declaring that he is in and he's just going to win the whole thing now coming out of the Royal Rumble after he got eliminated by Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso is going off to WrestleMania. The Chamber is in Toronto. It's where Matt is from. See, it's Toronto stuff. So I wanted to talk more about the Chamber and kind of the road to WrestleMania a little bit and obviously get all of your thoughts. So on Raw, we did have a qualifying match of CM Punk, Sami Zayn going at it. Great match. Thought it just did a really good job. And at the very end, obviously, CM Punk won. And we saw Kevin Owens enter in after, and he took out Sami Zayn, which clearly seems to set up their match, whatever they are going to be doing at WrestleMania. But the Chamber itself, man, you've got a ton of stories in here, and things are really starting to shape up and what the direction for WWE is going to be, kind of for their main events. Let's talk main events. You've got Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, going up against, could go against Cody. He's going to go to SmackDown and talk to Cody there, but kind of feels like it's going to be Gunther. I mean, that's the baked-in story, in my opinion, is Gunther and Jey having to overcome Gunther once and for all and take that title and force his way past Gunther and get that world championship. Does that main event night one? Does that main event night two? See, the thing with the Royal Rumble nowadays is that you win the Rumble, you don't necessarily go off and get the actual main event spot. You get a main event. Could be opening. Jey could be opening night one or night two of Mania, because you got Cody in there and you got whatever the heck is going on with Roman and everybody else. So the other match that we could see out of this, coming even out of Elimination Chamber, is Punk, Roman, and Seth in a triple threat. That is a main event blockbuster match. Does that main event night one or night two? I don't know, but that really feels like the direction they're starting to go in. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, our one-on-one match, we talked about that. And you do have the possibility of maybe even John Cena, Cody Rhodes, one-on-one. So in the Chamber, we now have John Cena and we have CM Punk confirmed. We don't have the other spots in yet, but there's supposed to be a qualifying match next week on Raw where we're going to have Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio one-on-one. That match, I feel like Logan Paul is going to win. I don't see him, Logan Paul's going to lose to Rey and then just not be in the Chamber. Don't really see it unless he's going to get taken out by somebody to set up whatever his Mania program is going to be. But I feel like the Elimination Chamber on the men's side is going to be really filling up those final participants that were in the Royal Rumble and giving them their shot. That's what Chamber is going to be huge in my opinion. So I think Logan Paul is going to make it in. The other rumored match, I don't know if it was confirmed by WWE, but I saw it was like Seth versus Finn Balor to qualify to enter the Chamber. Right there, I gotta say that it's going to be Seth Rollins. He's gonna get into the Chamber. So then we got Cena, Punk, Seth, Logan Paul. That's 4. Fifth man, brother, could be Roman Reigns. And your 6th entry for the Chamber, that's the question mark to me. I feel like those are kind of your locks. And your 6th person to enter in, it could be Kevin Owens. Kevin trying to get a qualifying match to then get one more shot at Cody. And if Kevin Owens did enter, it's in Canada, so you get a big pop for Kevin Owens. But if Kevin Owens did enter the Elimination Chamber, trying to get to Cody Rhodes, and then you could have Sami Zayn, who has been written off TV for injury. You know, you have Sami show up in Toronto, and he takes out Kevin Owens in the match, in the Chamber itself, and that gets him out of there. And then off you go, and you've got yourself Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. That 6th spot could also go to Drew McIntyre. Now, there's a lot of kerfuffle online, a lot of things happening about Drew McIntyre, the spots in the Rumble match, being mad at LA Knight for doing things and shenanigans. But after all of that, Drew is not on TV, he wasn't on Raw. He's been taken over to SmackDown, so we might see him there on Friday. But I think he posted something on social where Drew was just like, don't believe everything that the dirt sheets and everything that's written on TV. So with Drew being upset, it could be totally a shoot, it could be a work, and he's working all of us. Because remember, when Punk came back after Survivor Series, the reporting was that Drew was all livid backstage and upset and he left because of CM Punk. And then they went on to have a whole year-long story. So they could be just turning this into a storyline. Could be real, could be a little bit of real stuff in there. And then they're going to move on to Drew doing something at WrestleMania with Damian Priest. Or they're going to pivot Drew McIntyre and he's going to take on LA Knight. I don't know. But Drew, I could see he should want to get into the Chamber. That's what I think. Like he as a character should be trying to get in there so he can get his hands on Cody Rhodes or even Gunther. He's got enough say for both. But if it's not Drew, If Drew is just going to be not involved and he's too distracted and he's going off to do something else, what about Randy Orton? Randy didn't even show up at the Royal Rumble. He's been off. Like, why wouldn't Randy want to get in there? He could have his rematch against Gunther and get the world title, or he could be trying to get himself into the main event against his buddy Cody Rhodes, and they can try and tell that story. And then you can have cool moments in the chamber of Randy and Cena going face to face. That would be a moment. Otherwise, I don't see anybody else that's at the top of the card, unless you want to put in like a Jacob Fatu just as a wild card. So he gets past everybody and he gets into the Elimination Chamber, and you got the wild Samoan of Jacob Fatu running around in there. But the chamber itself is just, it's going to have such an impact. Today we're only going to talk about just this one chamber match because you got the women's going on and a whole lot of other stuff's probably going to happen. But with the men's side, you could have John Cena win. If John Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, he's going to go on to WrestleMania, gonna fight Cody. And I think that is just such a great story. Like, I'm glad John didn't win the Rumble ultimately, because I think you get more adversity put in front of him. So he has to finally earn that spot. And his last chance is Elimination Chamber. So with it being Cena versus Cody, I think you get a really good dynamic now, because Cody's character, at least from what we saw at the Rumble with that ladder match, he's really like leaning a little bit more into being bitter, frustrated, a little showy. He's showing things out like he's the champion and he's the big winner. He might approach it in the character. They might try to write it or make it seem like Cody needs to just prove that he is the top guy once and for all, that he's not getting the respect he deserves, or doesn't feel like Cena can even hang with him. They can write it in certain ways that'll be very compelling. And you have Cena just trying to go for that 17th win, and he's very clear now that that is what he's trying to do. Now, will Cena win or lose at Mania? Who the heck knows? We can talk about that later. The other options you could have, I mean, do I see Seth winning? No. Kevin Owens, if he was in? No, I think he goes to Sammy. Drew? No, I think Drew ends up with Damian Priest or LA Knight now or something like that. So then you kind of have Roman, if Roman's in. He's been written off for injury too as well, but you could just save him till the chamber. So you could have Roman, Punk, Seth, which is that whole elimination story that they had at the Rumble. Now CM Punk specifically, his whole thing has been try to get to the main event of WrestleMania. But it hasn't been so much about title. It's been more about him just saying, I want to get to the main event. So what could they do? Oh, and Logan Paul too. Logan Paul, no, I don't see him winning at Chamber, but you put Logan Paul in there to do the big splash spots basically. But with Roman, Punk, and Seth, I think that's your triple threat at WrestleMania. How that becomes like the main event match, I'm not too sure. Other than Roman is Roman and Roman just gets a main event. Because Cody and Cena, that should be, like, if that is the match, if that's what ends up happening, that's the Mania main event night two, at least for me. Unless they felt like something without a title is going to be main event for night one. Or can they pull something off where it's going to be a triple threat? Is Mania main event night two? I don't really see it. Nothing is really on the line other than bragging rights if that is what they are going to ultimately do with these three. I can see them doing that for night one main event, because you did have, for example, the tag team match last year at Mania 40. So there's precedent for them doing something where, you know, the Mania main event night one isn't necessarily going to be a title. It just kind of puts Jay down though, doesn't it? Like, assuming like maybe Jay's going to main event night one, who knows? But right now it feels like, oh, it's in the pecking order. It's like Cody, whole match and feud, then the triple threat, and then Jay. And so because you only got two, and then there's the women, we haven't even talked about that. So it feels like Jay is going to be kind of third. And that's why I feel like he might open up one of the nights. I don't know what happens at Chamber. I mean, my early prediction here is just that you're going to end up with Cena winning in the end. Maybe he can pin Punk or Logan Paul, kind of scare everybody once again that Logan Paul could win and get a title shot. And you could have things break down like they did at the Rumble between Seth, Roman, and Punk, where the eliminations are just happening. They screw each other over and they end up brawling and going off. They could do it too, where they're trying to set up after the Elimination Chamber more of the Seth Roman match, and Punk is pushing his way in and gets the favor from Paul Heyman to say, insert me into this match. I want to make it a triple threat in the main event of WrestleMania. And that could be what we ultimately get here. I really like how Chamber is shaping up already. We just came off of the Royal Rumble, but they're setting up a lot of good matches. On the women's side, you have Liv Morgan, who's qualified. It does feel like Charlotte Flair is going to go after Tiffany Stratton. Charlotte's going to go to all three brands like they've done before and see all the champions. But Charlotte's reaction, even when she got on Monday Night Raw, she was trying to play off as like, she's trying to be sincere about it and like coming back and how much of a struggle it was. But the crowd was not taking to it, at least from my perspective. They were not into what she had to say. They wanted to boo her. And I think what you could get at Mania between Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton is a little bit of a switch. Tiffany is kind of a heel, but she gets pops and she gets positive reactions. I think you can have Charlotte trying to be the babyface going into this, and then you get a little bit of the switcheroo, and they make Tiffany the giant babyface if that's going to be the Mania match. So the Elimination Chamber for the women, that's to determine who's going to challenge Rhea Ripley. And I don't know what they do. Not Liv, maybe Bianca. Or somehow Io gets back into it and gets qualified somehow, some way, and then she challenges. But over the years, we've had a lot of Elimination Chamber matches, and some have had a lot of consequence, and some really haven't. And this year could be the most like star-studded Elimination Chamber we ever get. What do you think? What's going to happen at Chamber? Let me know in the comments below. And guys, what do you think is going to be going down at WrestleMania? If you want to talk more WWE topics, click this video right here. Have a great day. See ya.